Morning all. How are you all doing? Morning Ladder. Morning Diamond. Morning Seymour. I'm just having a quick look at oil this morning because there was a bit of oil news over the weekend. Coming down a bit, not a lot, but I was just curious as to whether it was pulling back deep. Be interested in looking at these areas here if we can get back down into sort of this sort of zone on oil. But doesn't seem to have had a lot of impact this morning. So, morning, Frank. Morning, it's time. Right, just quick overview of the news. It's bank holiday today in the US, so there will be no live room this afternoon. The US session's not happening. Well, it is happening, obviously, but the markets are shut, so there won't be anything going on with the indices. So I'll be back tomorrow morning. So over weekend news, we'll do a news recap first of all. Then we'll watch, obviously, what happens with the DAX this morning. Not expecting anything particularly dramatic off the DAX. Just put the there, there. Yeah, so we'll have a look at the news first before we crack on. Morning G Positive. Good name. Right, so weekend news, we've had Chinese saying that they think that they have hit the peak of hospitalizations over COVID, which is good. So they're anticipating they've got past their peak. So obviously, if these figures keep coming down, it will make sure they don't go back into these hideous lockdowns and things. So obviously, that will ease up the economy for the Australasian zone. This is the news. That's why I was looking at oil. This is the news over the weekend. OPEC is experiencing volatility in the oil markets, both in supply and demand. Production capacity was down 3.7 million barrels per day. So it's with oil. Basically, it's a very fragile thing, oil, and it's up and down a lot, as we've seen over the last few weeks. So over the last few months, rather. So I'm trying to figure out whether this is sort of bullish or bearish on it. If capacity is down, assuming supply hasn't gone down too much, that should drive prices. But we've got all these restrictions with oil pricing and the caps that is screwing everything up at the moment. So still bullish on oil, but I was looking for a pullback this morning just to see if there was any really deep pullback on it. There was opportunity to get in, but there isn't. So we've had PMI figures overnight for Japan, all positive. We've got the bond sale from Japan today, so I'd expect a bullish yen. News. All week. Yeah, news-wise, all week, what we've got is the Bailey speaking this afternoon. So it's bank holiday today, which is obviously going to be potentially a fairly weak London session as well, but certainly a probably full a weak New York session, which is why I'm not going to do a live room this afternoon because the indices won't move much. But the other thing we quite often do get on these days is more often than not, when you have a bank holiday in one of the major participants, you have a quiet day. Sometimes, though, you get massive slippage of market movement. So we'll see. You never tell until obviously it kicks in. So morning, JL. First time here. Morning, Stevie. So this afternoon, news-wise, we've got Bailey speaking. We've got the Bank of Canada Outlook survey as well, basically later on, which doesn't really do a lot. But it's the Bailey is the main thing that can move the market this afternoon for the pound. We've got the claimant counts tomorrow morning for the pound. It's the WEF annual meetings, which is basically talking heads, basically, which is why you've got a load of talking heads on. So it's a banking meeting where you have a load of talking heads. So that's happening this week as well. All week, actually. It goes on all week. We've got CAD PMI, CPIs, so inflation figures for the Canadian dollar on Tuesday. That's the main focal point of the week, is the CAD. So we'll see what happens there. We've got the Bank of Japan monetary policy statement on Wednesday morning at some point. Typically tends to be somewhere around about 2, 3, or 4 o'clock in the morning UK time. We got the inflation figures coming out for the UK on Wednesday. They should be dropping, which will be good. We've got the PPI for the US on Wednesday afternoon. And then from there on, it's fairly light for the rest of the week. We've got bits and pieces of retail and unemployment claims and stuff, which is not massively impactive. So it's all front loaded this week on mainly Tuesday and Wednesday. These are the two big ones where we're going to get all the movement this week. So that's what we've got to look forward to. Bit of cop positioning, repositioning. I posted this in the Telegram group over the weekend. So we've had some repositioning basically on COT. Market's going to open in 1 minute. We'll see if we get any movement. I'm not expecting a massive move on the DAX this morning. I'm going to babysit the EA, the opening range breakout EA this morning, because if this is going to be very light, I don't want to get overexposed this morning. So I might scale in and out of some positions. I might even do some manual trading this morning. I'll see. But I'm not expecting it to be a big one today. So cop positioning over the weekend. The Aussie dollar is so not much change on the Aussie dollar. That was 67 last week. It's now 68% short. The Canadian dollar was 67. That's now 71% short. So there's more shorts coming on the CAD. Again, this is all this mucking about with oil and uncertainty. It's not helping the CAD at the moment. The US dollar weakness is also not helping the CAD at the moment. Swiss franc is the major change. So this was sitting at 59% last week. It's now 75. So there's been a massive influx in new short positions on the Swiss franc. And obviously, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what happened with the Swiss franc last week. If I look at the Swiss yen, yeah, absolutely collapsed. If we look at the ranges, so your Swiss yen hit its monthly range last week already. We're in the second week of the month, so the third week of the month now. So big movements on the Swiss franc. So lots of short opportunities there. The difficulty we're going to find with this Swiss is getting in. If there's any decent pullbacks on this, looking basically for some kind of pullback into this zone, I don't think it's going to get back up into where we broke the low. It could do, which is roughly a 61.8 retracement, but yeah, it's going to be quite tricky to get into this one, I think. All the Swissies, if you look at all of them, Euro Swiss is something that's very much on my radar at the moment for a long. There's a massive propulsion gap here. If we get down to here, I'm in long. I'm going to set the EA up on this actually this morning. I was just in the middle of getting all my pairings together for the EA this morning. So Euro Swiss is on that list. Yeah, so really like that one as a long. But so yeah, Swiss franc is the main loser in the COT. The euro was sitting at 29% short. We're now sitting at 30% short. Not a lot of difference there. So that's roughly the same. The pound, we were sitting at 59. So again, a lot more shorts come on board for the pound. So the pound is now a much bigger sell. I use 60% as a gauge, as a trigger on sentiment and on COT for increasing. So if something gets over 60, it's now a definite short. We want to be definitely short on it. So pound is a definite short now from an institutional perspective. Not much change on the New Zealand. That was 69, got up to 71. 70% on the yen. That was 74. So there are still short on it. There's a few scanning out, but not a lot. And the US dollar was 68. So there's a few less longs. So not a lot of change, but the main things are much more pound short, much more Swiss short. Okay, so that's had a little bit of an impact on the scorecard, as you can see. So these are the pairs I'll be concentrating on this week. At the moment, obviously, as retail sentiment shifts, then obviously you can, some other bits may light up or not, but the sell of the century at the moment is the pound US. and the pound New Zealand. The pound New Zealand I'm already short. Just waiting on the pound New Zealand. I'm in it. But, I've been in this for a week now, haven't I? I've been in it since here. It's just not gone anywhere this week, last week. So that's news and sentiment. Buy a scorecard. Obviously, you can go to the website and access that anytime you like. Right, opening range is just about to go in on the DAX in under a minute. Look at my timer. That one I think I was using. Yeah. No, I haven't got a license on this machine. Yes, I have. It's just hidden. Font size X. Let's get 20. No, it has to be more than that. Hey, why didn't you save that? I hit the wrong button. What? Hello? 35. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's because I'm putting multiples on it. Oh, it's. There we go. Right, opening range is in. Quite small this morning. Not too bad. 26. But so we'll see where we go. If this doesn't go out the gates pretty quick this morning, I'm probably not going to be particularly interested in this, to be honest. So if we have a look at the DAX, where we are, highs. We're just flying at the moment. What I played on Friday was that double top down, which I made money on. I made money on the initial opening range breakout as well, but it all got chopped up towards the end of the day and ended up being a lost day. But we made a new high again. So this is now day 11. 1, 2, 3, classing that it's an inside ball. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're on day 11. So this morning so far, pre-market, we haven't gone anywhere. We have gone up obviously through that high, but I'm waiting to see if we get that drop. This thing is exhausted and it really wants to pull back at some point very, very soon. Same with the FTSE. We are shot. So very extended on the daily. As you can see, we're extended on the daily. We're extended on the 4-hour and embedded, and we have been since the 10th. Hourly has come out, but it just keeps hovering above that 50 level. It's really strong at the moment, the DAX. When you compare it to obviously all the US indices, which are still very strong, but from a strength perspective, they started late. So markets are all very buoyant at the moment, but I'm not expecting it to last for too much longer. I'm expecting that pullback to kick in. So when it does, I think it's going to be a pretty quick, violent one. But we will see what happens. So inside bar at the moment being formed. Nothing particularly exciting there. See if we can get a break of that low. So looking at targets today, we have that low there, and we got down here. So we got about 25 to 70 points. Where's the ADR indicator gone? I'm sure I had the ADR on there. So ADR's all the way down at Thursday's low. Long way. So intermediate target, this area here, obviously this propulsion gap is potentially where we're going to find buyers if it is going to continue on a bull day, or if we're going to get kind of an inside day. This is where I would it's sort of a bull candle, but not a massive bull candle. If we're going to get a bullish move, this is where I'll be looking, which is basically around 15,060, somewhere around that level, potentially for support. But so far, it doesn't look like it wants to go anywhere. Obviously, don't forget the market's going to be quiet potentially today as well because of the US holidays. So we'll see. Right. So ADRs so far, no ADRs this morning. Very quiet session at the moment in Asia. Obviously, weeklies have all reset. So the things we've got available on the monthlies, we've got the Swiss yen and the US yen. So obviously, the yen had a massive week last week. Obviously, you can see we had 2 solid ADR days on the trot. The Swiss yen was the one that had the most damage, obviously, because of that Swiss National Bank loss. We had 2 ADR days and, well, way over ADR days, weren't they? Was that an ADR day? Not quite. Yeah, it was. Just about. This is about a 95% ADR. So we had 2 big, that one being the biggest, massive ADR stretches over 200%. Then we had pretty much an ADR day to the downside. So it's 3 days solid now. If you look at it on the daily chart, this thing has been collapsing. And not just collapsing significantly. So we are massively extended on the daily. Whenever we get, obviously, a stretch, we get an elastic band pullback. Stretch, pullback, stretch. This is the pullback. So I had a New Zealand dollar yen on, which I put on Friday. I closed that out this morning for a little bit of loss. I forgot to close it out on Friday. Whoops. I didn't want to hold it over the weekend in case there was some kind of news on the from the Bank of Japan because they were doing another sell-off today. Yeah, I managed to close it out this morning. Or rather, the EA did. So yeah, took those off this morning. There. Euro yen. I thought I had New Zealand dollar yen on, didn't I? Oh no, it's Euro yen. Sorry. Yeah, Euro yen. Not New Zealand yen. So yeah, so they came off this morning. So it's that entry, and then my manual and the EA's additional took all those off up here, which was in that propulsion gap. I was anticipating a potential bounce off of that resistance, which is exactly what happened. And we got a reversal, and this morning now they're just pushing back up into double top and liquidating everybody that shorted that. So don't know which way the yen's going today. I don't really want to get involved in any yen shorts until we get a pullback on it. So I'm just going to sit there and watch it this morning and see where it goes. But yeah, we'll see. So yeah, nothing on the ADRs or on the weeklies, obviously. The RSIs, there's quite a few extensions. There's nothing on the hourlies, but there is on the 4 hourlies. I'm just flicking back and forth between the DAX just to see what's going on with it. That on my other monitor, shouldn't I? And then I can watch it all the time without disturbing. X and 5. Yeah, so basically inside bar. We're on an inside bar of an inside bar. Inside bar. Inside bar of the opening range. So we ain't going anywhere. So yeah, so we'll run through all of these, then we'll have a look at everything that is biased on our side from the scorecard and see if there's any opportunities coming up on those as well. If there's any pairs specifically you want me to look at, let me know. Aussie dollar CAD is the first one. So obviously 4 hourly, we've just come out of extension on that, missed it. It's already gone. So that came down in the Asian session. So the move's already started on that. That again is one on my list. No, it's not. New Zealand CAD is the one I chose on my list, not Aussie CAD. So that started to come down this morning. Moses, I will like to be attending this session. Good work. Good, glad you're liking it. G positive US dollar CAD. Have a look at that in a sec. So yeah, Aussie dollar CAD coming down 4 hour. So we've got this level here of resistance, which we've slammed through. Really, I would like to see a break of that level there, just under that 4 hour candle, which is basically lower today. So this is today's low. So I'd like to see today's low get broken on this. It is extended. If you look at it from a bias perspective, there isn't any. Let me just reset that. It's range bound, so you can take it in either direction. So the fact that obviously we're extended to the upside, you can short it. It is a long, obviously, at the moment, based on the weak Canadian dollar, and that is getting weaker as far as COT's concerned. So yeah, like it as a short and a long, really. They're both weak at the minute, but hourly reversal alert is probably the one to take on this. So looking for a decent break of structure, and obviously, then a move up, and in this case, obviously a move down. So if we're going to stay range bound on this, this is potentially range high, and this is the new range high going in, and we're going to pull back down into either that low there, or we're going to come all the way back down to 25 ADR. So it's not extended on the hourly. It was this morning. So again, missed this one. So it was an H1 RSI extension this morning, which would have been your M5 reversal entry here. Obviously it's in profit. So yeah, like it, but we've missed that one. I'll quickly cover US dollar CAD for G positive. Morning, Alan, because that's not on our list. US dollar CAD. Right, so US dollar, I don't know what to make of US dollar at the minute still. I'm still bullish on it. The problem, the reason I'm bullish on it is because I'm not really bullish on the US dollar. I am not bearish on it, I think is the best way to explain it. The reason I'm bullish on it, I wanting to buy US dollar pairs, is because I just purely think everything else is weaker than the US dollar. So if you get a currency that's really weak, like the US dollar has been recently, and it didn't have a massive push on all of that positive news we had, which means it's fairly weak, doesn't mean it can't still be the strongest out there. If every currency at the moment, every major currency and minor currency is weak, one of them is going to be the stronger of the weak, isn't it? And I think the US dollar is that. So it depends, obviously, how you look at it. I mean, G Positive just said he's short. That's fine. You can be short on 1 minute all day and be right, but long term it could go up for the next 3 days and be right. So at the moment it's kind of range bound. So it doesn't really matter when you get in on it. It doesn't matter with anything. I can push a button on this keyboard right now and go long or short and be 100% right 100% of the time. Because market goes up and down, doesn't it? This is the thing. So that's where I am at the moment with this. If I press the buy button, I'll be right. If I press the sell button, I think I'll be right. Doesn't matter, does it? I don't use a stop loss, so I'm right most of the time. It's just a case of waiting, and I don't think there is a bias I should be with this at the moment, with this US dollar, and especially with this, because the CAD is so weak. Yeah. So if you've got something that's been this weak, look at the COT positioning on this as an example. Yeah. On the CAD, 71% of institutional market non-commercial positions are short on it. Yeah, the market is short on this thing. They are not buying the CAD at the moment. So if that's the case, why is the US dollar not flying if the CAD is so weak? Like Diarma's just said, it's a question of how long you have to wait for these things to pan out. And the problem with the US dollar at the moment is I don't think it's going to have enough strength to get into a trend, but equally I don't think it's going to be weak and allow things to push it around. So I think with most of these, you've got to look fairly range bound. If you look at all the US dollar crosses, and US dollar CAD is a buy because the Canadian dollar is so weak. US dollar Swiss is a buy because the Swiss franc is so weak. US dollar yen is a buy because the yen has been so weak, but that is a lot of that buy there is COT positioning. Yeah, because they're all short at the moment on the yen, but the yen is flipping. We're at a point on the yen where I think we're starting to flip. So I think that's going to flip and that's going to change. But look at all the others. Pound US dollar, massive sell, not necessarily because of the strength in the US dollar. The pound is very, very weak. Euro US dollar, yeah. The euro is actually not too bad from a strength perspective, but it's not as strong still at the moment as the US. Aussie dollar, US dollar, Aussie dollar's weak. So that makes that a massive sell, but because of the Aussie dollar, not necessarily because of the US. So I think you can trade it in both directions at the moment. But I would always be on that side of the US because it's more likely that something else will have a much bigger negative reaction than the US dollar having a positive. So you've got to pick a bias. I don't really have one, but I'd rather be longing it just purely because that's what the US dollar does. Look at the US dollar CAD. Look at the pound US dollar, smashed. Look at the euro US dollar, smashed. Look at the Aussie US dollar, smashed. Yeah, just because it's having a bit of a weak spot doesn't mean that the Australian dollar is going to get massively strong. If that doesn't strengthen up, and all we need is a couple of good news events on the US, and be back down here again. So I think the path of least resistance is to be bullish on it, but I don't think it's going to go into a big trend. We're not going to get, the old that this isn't coming back. I don't think so. Difficult, but US dollar CAD, again, I can't really answer G positive as to whether you should be buying or selling it because you haven't given me any time frame or strategy or anything. I haven't got a clue. If you're trading it on the 4-hour, buy it. If you're trading it right now on the 5-minute chart, buy it. Yeah, there's no reason to sell it, is there? There's absolutely nothing right now that says sell that. It's all a buy. Got a reversal alert to the upside. You've got an area of liquidity to reach. You've got a second area of liquidity to reach. There's nothing but long targets. M15 just had a reversal alert to go long. You've got propulsion moves here to aim for. Yeah. Don't forget we've got this propulsion gap yet that we haven't filled. It's a long, time frame. So don't know on that one particularly. Let's just quick look at the DAX. God, another inside bar. Wow. Yeah. So yeah, quiet this morning. CAD yen. So a lot of these 4-hour extensions obviously are yen. So I'll whiz through all the yens basically. Aussie dollar yen, obviously, if you look at that one, was extended, started its pullback. CAD yen still extended all the way down there. Seymour, US still haven't said anything about their plans for the debt ceiling. No, don't know. I don't know about as I say, US is very difficult at the minute. But the trouble with the US is when they get themselves into trouble, they just print more money, which is why it's hard to be bearish on it. And it's just, look at the world economy. Everybody's in the same boat at the moment, aren't they? This is the thing. You look at the key fundamentals. Everybody's in the same boat. Yeah, we've all got inflation, interest rates going sky high. All interest rates, apart from the New Zealand, are going up and up and up. Inflation is starting to come down now across the board, as we can see. But just because inflation is starting to come down, that is a byproduct of increasing interest rates. That doesn't mean and this is the one we need to keep an eye on, New Zealand, yeah? They are the first ones to not change their interest rates. Forget Japan because they never do. But they're the first people not to change that. If this does not continue to come out as negatives and then starts to slightly go up again, we know that freezing inflation interest rates is not going to have a negative impact on inflation, which means that we're not on top of it. And this is why all of these countries are sitting there going, yeah, it's really good inflation's coming down, but we're not taking our foot off the gas. 5.25 for them, 4.5 to 5, but the UK, etc. Euro haven't even said anything. It's like, we're just going to go 0.5%, and we're going to keep going 0.5% until we think we can stop. So everybody's going that way, which means we're all basically stuffed. One currency that the entire world transacts in will always be stronger than everything else, as long as the fundamentals are on their side. Their inflation's coming down, that's good. Their GDP is going up, that's good. Their unemployment is coming down, that's good. They're on top of stuff. So out of all this weak bunch we've got at the moment, because the entire world's in a financial crisis, you've got to pick a winner, haven't you? That's my reasoning behind it. Yes, it may not be particularly strong, but it's still going to be stronger than the rest. Should be, anyway, but that can change. So CAD Yen, we've missed this one this morning as well. The reverse alert was in Asia. So we had the reverse alert, that's off. We've missed the CAD Yen, that's gone. So all of these are mean reversion opportunities. Swiss Yen, yeah. So look at all these on the 4 hour, yeah. What we're looking for is this complete exhaustion to start to unwind. So the question is, where are we going, and how deep is the unwinding and profit take going to be? So this is the move, obviously, where we had all the Swiss franc and the yen strength happening at the same time. Swiss franc weakness and yen strength happening last week. If you're long on this, if anybody got onto any of these reverse alerts on the Swiss yen or any of the yens, you've got to look at where you're potentially going now. So there's a reverse alert on that one. The euro yen's reversal alert was in Asia. I'm already out of this one, but pound yen reversal alert was in Asia. US dollar yen reversal alert again was in Asia. New Zealand dollar yen as well. So all reversed this morning. All got good directional bias. All extended on the 4 hour. Yeah. So this is what I pointed out, didn't I, on Friday? This is why I got long on the euro yen. Yeah. Pullback. We're doing the pullback. So, but how far? That's the question. So looking at all of them, if you're on any of these, I don't know if anybody's on any of these, but just look for the propulsion gaps. I would probably use hourlies to see where we actually got them. There's one there, but that's just a collapse. The break was here. I don't think you're going to get back that far. But all of them, look for potential propulsion gaps to find sellers potentially stepping in. So that area there, potentially, that liquidity is just gone. So, it's a case of, are we going to get any more intervention and strength coming through from the Japanese or not? Market structure is hideously huge. I mean, that's not off the cards, is it, right now? We're going to make a new lower high and we're continuing to make lower lows. I wouldn't put it past that being the lower high. This thing could scream there all week, couldn't it? Did last time. Don't know. It's very difficult to tell with these at the moment, but kind of missed the boat on it. I'd rather be doing that. So I'll be watching these for potential short opportunities. I'm going to stick the EA on pound yen. So that's my choice at the moment, pound yen to go short. So I'm waiting for it to pull up into here somewhere, and then I'm going to start looking for short opportunities on it. So lots of opportunities on those from 4 hour extensions. If you didn't take them this morning, or you weren't set up with the market reversal alerts EA to take them on Friday, you've kind of missed them, unfortunately. Euro US dollar is the other one, which is extended on the 4 hour. Again, you've missed it. The extension was on Friday, so you should have been in this short on Friday, and there's your reverse alert this morning. Strong US dollar. They took out the liquidity, so you've been in short somewhere in there on the 4 hour extension. Actually, you probably were out of this in that propulsion gap on Friday, maybe, but you've missed it. Pound yen, pound US dollar as well. Again, coming down very, very hard. Market reversal alert this morning in Asia, and you got a quick retest. But this thing hasn't looked back. So huge US dollar strength this morning. So the DAX should be potentially coming down. Yeah. So, but see if we can sustain it. Yeah. So this US dollar needs a rest. Very weak yen this morning, as you can see, and strong US. Again, this is the thing you can never tell with these bank holidays. Quite often, we've seen it with the Japanese one. When you get a bank holiday in Japan, there's no Asian session. London take full advantage, don't they? You get these huge moves against the yen because they can't do anything about it. So strike while they're asleep type thing. We'll see. We might get that this morning. We might not. Morning, Abraham. What's the outlook for pound US dollar today? Today? Sure. You've missed it though. So pound US dollar market reversal was this morning. This would be my target. It's a short. So basically, it's really annoying. Again, if you look at what I've got lined up for the EA. Oh no, I didn't have that. What did I choose? I thought I chose the pound US dollar for shorts. I hadn't got that far, yeah. But yeah, pound US dollar was going on my short list. Why did I not put that on? Oh yeah, because of the yen. So I'm going to put that on anyway, pound US dollar. So I'm going to get short on pound US dollar when I can. But the reason I didn't put the pound US dollar in there was because I was looking for another yen pair to jump in, and I really fancied the pound yen. But then I suddenly realised this morning I had euro pound and I've got the pound New Zealand, so that exposes me 3 times on the pound. I couldn't put another one on there with the pound US, so I think I might remove that. I'm going to expose myself 3 times short on the pound, just to get in that pound US, and then I'm going US dollar CAD long. But having said this, I was just basically this morning I was just selecting the pairs that I was going to get into today, or I was going to put the EA on today to start trading. So, and obviously that's based on the current biases. So, so those are your extensions on the 4-hour RSIs. You've kind of missed them all, unfortunately. So again, but the same as anything, just get, if you haven't got the dashboard, the RSI dashboard, just monitor the hourlies and monitor the 4-hourlies. And obviously any extensions you get on these, it's always the same. Yeah. We're just looking for pullbacks after the propulsion moves to get in. But in line with bias. So this one at the moment is obviously just a propulsion gap fill off of the unemployment figures last Friday, or Friday before last, rather. So that's what we're looking to fill. Back down to there. Just going to look at what the DAX is up to. So I'm short the DAX. I'm not short the DAX, am I? No, I'm not in yet. Jesus, look at this. It hasn't managed to break out yet. Look. We just can't get out. The US indices you'll probably find are actually moving fairly quick. Yeah, see the Nasdaq's flying, Dow's flying, because obviously we've got that massive strength in the US dollar, which is pushing these down. So, but not on the DAX, just the Nasdaq and the Dow. I guess pound US dollar is presently retracing and will continue the bull soon, maybe during the US session. No, there is no US session this afternoon. Markets are shut. Bank holiday. Bank holiday in the US. I mean, I say session. I mean the stock markets are shut because obviously they're closed. But FX is 24/5, isn't it? So the markets are always open for Forex, but movement is obviously based on news and stock market orders. So you won't get much volatility. But I wouldn't be looking to buy the pound US dollar. Yeah, we're just pulling back at the moment. Look at the market structure on the daily chart. Yeah, so we've had a reversal of that. There's your high. Push down into a low. We're looking to put in a lower high. That's your propulsion move. That is potentially your lower high. Now, we need to see what happens when we come back down and retest that area. As I say, this is the key area at the minute. This is where the buying started. So if this is a fake move, don't forget, this whole week here, yeah, we had nothing but positive news for the US dollar. Yeah, as you can see, positive news, pound US dollar down. Positive news, pound US dollar down. Yeah. Negative PMI figures, nowhere near as important as the rest. Absolute chaos flying back the opposite direction. This is just liquidity that they're running there. And now everybody goes in short, puts their stops there, they take that out. Everybody goes short, they put their stops there, they take that out. They're coming back down to here. What we don't know is whether this high, this peak formation high here is going to hold and the market structure is going to shift as we would expect it with a weak pound and a weak to neutral US dollar. This is a sell. Yeah, everything is going short for it. Interest rates are on the side of the US dollar. Inflation is on the side of the US dollar. GDP is on the side of the US dollar. Unemployment is on the side of the US dollar. All market participants that make the market move are short pound US dollar. The only thing we haven't got on side is retail. If retail come on side, this is going to a minus 12. This only goes up to 14. Biggest sell out there at the minute. Just waiting. The Dow's moving down after the open. Yep, that's on the US dollar strength. On the H1, my RSI is at 14. All RSIs are at 14 at the moment. Just because we are, we're not in normal market conditions. We're in volatile market conditions at the minute. So all my RSIs are faster. So I've adjusted them. Normally they're 21s on the hourly, but from where we should buy the pound, I just said I wouldn't buy it. What about gold? Don't trade gold, but I'm going to run through all of these in a minute and just we'll have a quick look through them all. Well, gold, obviously, gold is just across with the US dollar. The US dollar is flying at the moment, so it's a short. At the moment, long term, obviously, at the minute, gold is moving very nicely on its own. So, you know, the US dollar strength didn't really have much impact on gold. I don't trade gold. I don't trade commodities really at all. So I can't really give any guidance on it. But yeah, I mean, just stick with market structure. You know, market structure has been along since here. There's your reversal alert. There's your retest. Got a W down there. Since then, it's a long. So drop down into lower time frames and look for long opportunities. So as this comes down, wait for the next reversal alert to go long. At the moment, you just had one to go short based on this US dollar strength that we're seeing this morning, but you got a propulsion move there at ADR. So maybe ADR is a good spot. That's a very good spot to buy today, ADR. If you are wanting to long it, doesn't matter. You know, if you're anybody trading intraday, forget the higher time frame. It doesn't matter, does it? M5 has got nothing to do with the higher time frames whatsoever. This is you're trading market chop down here. It doesn't really matter what you use for your bias. What you should be concentrating on lower time frames is exhaustion. Yeah. Yeah. Trading exhaustion. Got divergence there as well. Look. Still failing. This US dollar is massively strong today. This is what should have happened last week, and it didn't. They just destroyed us all last week. What's your indicator for MT4? I've got loads. Go onto the website and have a look. They're all under indicators. Right. So we've looked at all the RSI extensions. As I say, we've missed the boat on all of these. Euro yen was the only one I was in, which I got out of this morning, just in case we had that intervention from the yen with the sale that they're doing today, but it's not really seeming to kick off. So all of these you've missed. Yeah. So the 4-hour extension on the RSI, M5 reverse alert, and it's tanking. They're all tanking. They're all going exactly the way they should be off of the reverse alerts and the RSI extensions, but not on board, unfortunately, this morning. So looking at the the bias at the minute, for the Aussies, we've got Aussie New Zealand and Aussie US. So these are both sells. The Aussie, obviously, these are both sells because we've got quite a strong COP bias on both of these. So Aussie US is slightly better because obviously the US is doing a lot better. So I like both of them at the moment short. Aussie New Zealand, since we had the breakdown, obviously we've done nothing but look back. We've just respected the 72 all the way back down to here. Then we shifted structure back to the upside, and we're pushing back up. So this is a pullback potentially at the moment on the next leg down. It didn't manage to break. I got in short here, if you remember, last week and got out in the propulsion gap. Glad I did because it pushed back up again. So we're extended again, and it's starting to break now. So we're waiting to hear whether or not the Australians are going to get their deal with China for coal exports. If that is going to happen, then that is going to help. Oh, DAX has broken out to the downside, by the way. I'm short DAX. Opening range break to the downside. Nice opening range break this morning. Let's see if we can get some strength continuation on that. And obviously where we're going is potentially down to 15.082 initially, and then back down to this level, 15.030 to 15.038. Which is a good 60 point move from where we are now. So that'll do this morning if we can get that move. Yeah, so Aussie New Zealand like it. Reverse alert this morning has already happened. M15, you've not far off had the retest. It's just taking out the Asian lows at the moment. We're stuck here, look. So a break of that level will probably give us that flush that we need to start a move down. So this is starting to roll over nicely. We need to break this low today, though, really, to get in. So obviously this is the reversal. That was the retest, but it's more of an accumulation, wasn't it? So there is potential to push back up today. This is where the sellers really stepped in this morning, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I like that short. I've got that set up, as I say. I'm going to start getting shorts on this Aussie New Zealand. I'm just waiting for it. I'm waiting for all these to push a little bit, really, so that I can get in short. Aussie US is the next one. Obviously, we've had a couple of extensions which have both worked, but not really started to move down. So this is the propulsion move off of the unemployment figure, off of the PMI figures, basically. So that's initially where I'm looking for targeting, somewhere back down into the 24.72 range. I like this as a short as well. So again, it's a pullback on this weak US dollar. We've got a bit of a weak Aussie at the moment, but say that could change. But I still don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't look to short this. Every short is working very, very nicely. Yeah, so all the shorts are working. Didn't get extended there, but they're very, very nicely. We're just not able to get that start. And this is what I mean. The US dollar, I don't think it's got enough strength at the moment to really start to trend. But every time it does strengthen up is a profit take on the move. But, you know, look how weak it is, the trend. Everything is still massively weak against the US dollar. So you could take longs, but you can also take shorts. And I think the thing you got with the US dollar is if we get positive news on it, you're going to get a really big move, aren't you? So So yeah, like that one as a short as well. Aussie dollar, US dollar, Euro Swiss and Euro pound are both buys. So again, those two, I'm both looking at those, putting the EA on Euro Swiss and Euro pound. Those are my 2 euro exposures. Missed it. So I'm waiting for ideally a pullback, and then I'll start getting short on that one. Anywhere back up into here, I'll get in short. I got in short on it previously, obviously, and I didn't hold it, but this is where we're looking for. Yeah, so accumulation, break. That's the propulsion gap I'll be looking to get out in when I can get in short. I can't get in short at the moment. I need it back up here somewhere. Yeah, accumulation break there. So I'll be looking to get, if we can, there. Could double top today, might be a good opportunity for short, but again, it might just flush. If it flushes, I've missed it. Sorry, US Swiss, I'm a long. Sorry. Hello. It's a long. Yeah, sorry. Let me just redo that analysis because that was totally wrong. That's where I'm looking to get in. Long. So what one is it down there? I'm talking intraday as if I can play it down into there and then obviously push back up. That's what is the ideal. So yeah, if we can get into there, that's where I really, really want to get interested in buying it. It's massively extended, obviously, at the moment. So I need this area here tested before I really want to get in long. So what my subconscious mind was saying was, at the moment it's a short because I'm expecting it to get down to here so I can long it. So I can stick the EA on that as well when it's down there. Euro pound, again, a long, but it's just hard to get into these at the moment. I really don't want to jump in just for jumping in's sake. But, you know, the market structure on this is absolutely beautiful at the moment. So it's just lovely. It's already gone without me this morning. I missed it in Asia. I'm not very well organized this month at the moment. So like that one as a long. US dollar yen. It's all covered random. All of this stuff is all covered on the website. Go to the website. There's a link in the description on the video you're watching. Yeah, there's a Boocamp here which explains everything about all my indicators, my strategies. All the indicators have got their own page with full detailed descriptions of everything. So there's Euro Swiss and Euro pound. Euro New Zealand and Euro US are sells. There is no COT bias on side with these, so I'm not particularly interested in these at the moment. Sentiment is on side for the Euro US dollar. Sorry, offside for the Euro US dollar. So this is saying we should be longing it against the fundamentals at the minute, because obviously intraday, everybody is still short Euro US dollar, which means it's a long. So I don't really like these as sells because there's no fundamental, there's no big players on side with us. So Euro New Zealand dollar and Euro US dollar. Both sells, both good spots at the moment. Look at those wicks. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. So great rejection on Friday. Your entry was there. You've missed it. So we are pulling back at the moment. So potentially we could get into another short. The euro, I'm really bullish on the euro overall. New Zealand dollar is just so strong at the moment, though, which is why obviously we are just kind of range bound. So we have broken out the range. We're not getting anywhere though. Yeah. So we've had, you know, this is our area of balance. Price discovery, back into balance. Price discovery, note. Price discovery, note. Price discovery, note. We're just not interested at the moment. So I think when the euro, if the euro does manage to get stronger than the New Zealand dollar and does manage to break out of there, we'll probably go into this sort of multi-day push, and then we'll have to wait for it to come back down. That is basically the trade I took short on the Euro Swiss, wasn't it? and I had to sit through it for 3 or 4 days before it finally pushed back down again. So euro is in fits and starts at the moment. US dollar yen I've already done random, but it's a long at the moment. You've missed it though. It's this morning. It was down here. But if you want to get in long, yeah, we got a reverse alert. You're just about to trigger a reverse alert on the hourly. Yeah, you're just about to trigger now, but you're buying straight into resistance. So be careful. Overall, though, I would be selling this. Yeah, go watch the boot camp. There's no reason to be anything but long on this at the moment, and you'll know why when you watch the boot camp. Yeah, we're looking for a pullback. We're extended. The elastic band is stretched. We're looking for a snap, but then I'd want to get in short somewhere up somewhere in here is a short. I don't know where yet. So yeah, Euro New Zealand and Euro US range bound, both of those, but not the greatest at the moment because you've got no commitment of traders on board with you. The same with the pound odd and the pound yen. Those two I don't massively like as sells. Pound odd, the reason being is because the Australian dollar is actually fairly weak at the moment. If we do get some strength in that, I think, yeah, there's a really good chance that that's going to come down. So I like it, but it's more of a range bound thing to me. The reason I don't want to sell it at the moment is because of the level that we're at. We're at support. We're in a whacking great range on this thing at the moment. I don't really want to be selling here. You could take a breakout short, and obviously if it does break out, I think the pound is a short overall anyway. But I think there's better pounds to be shorting. This is the Liz Truss nightmare. This is Bailey's recovery. Since we had Bailey's recovery, we haven't gone anywhere. We are just sitting there at the moment. So I'd be looking for shorts on it, but I want RSI extensions to the upside, ADR hits potentially to the upside, 4-hour RSI extensions to the upside. Those is what I want to be shorting. You're going to get these pullbacks off of it at some point, but it's just not in the right spot at the moment. Pound yen was the other one, wasn't it? That was a short, which has got no cot on side. Obviously, this is already gone. We've missed it. That's the thing that worries me about this at the moment. We didn't get back up into a retest on that. I get the feeling with all this strength that we had in the yen is going to wane. But I'd much rather be hitting the short button. When they do intervene, they're going to do this, aren't they? We do not want to be long when they do that. We want to be short every time they intervene. So I'm looking for short opportunities on it, but it's just not in the right spot. It's down at support at the moment. So I'll be looking for any RSI extensions to the upside, 4-hour extensions, but right now it is a mean reversion. Yeah, but I just don't like it. I hate these massive gaps. Yeah, look at this. When you get these massive propulsion gaps, and that's a massive one, isn't it? Obviously, you know you're going to come back and test it. We always do. It's very rare that we don't come back and test a propulsion gap that big. We did come back and test it there about 2 or 3 days later, but that literally just tested it, and then everybody jumped in short again. So I just get the feeling we're going to need a bigger pullback into this, somewhere into this area again. But I might be wrong. You know, it all depends on the yen and whether they intervene. There's nothing to say the pound has got any strength whatsoever to get there. So if we get a medium strength yen, it's never going to get there. But I don't know. It doesn't look amazing to me at the moment. Pound New Zealand and pound US, however, I am short pound New Zealand already. waiting for this. This is just in a horrible range at the minute. It's a horrible spiky mess. But I'm short, and I will continue to scale short if it pushes. Yeah, any ADR hits, I'll be adding. Any RSI extensions, I'll be adding. So I'm just going to add into my shorts on this, ready to go to bring that one down. You had a reverse alert on it on the hourly on Friday, M15. You had one on Friday as well. But I mean, look at the mess. It's just a mess. It doesn't matter. You don't, to be honest with this one, you don't really need to wait for a reverse alert. Just hit the short button whenever you fancy it and just wait. At some point in the period of a week, you'll be down here. And if it pushes up to there, get in again, wait for it to come back down here. It's just a choppy mess. Pound US dollar, missed it completely. That's a short. Totally missed it. This morning, the reverse alert was here. The retest, we covered this one already. So I will be looking to get back in short on that one. So I'm going to set the EA up this morning to start shorting that. We've got the New Zealand. So we've got New Zealand dollar CAD and New Zealand dollar Swiss, both buys, both heavily with COT on board. New Zealand dollar CAD, as you know, I was long on this, and I have been long on it for ages. So New Zealand dollar CAD is just the same as the pound New Zealand. We are just not getting anywhere. I got in long on the pound New Zealand and on the New Zealand dollar CAD somewhere here. I was where was it? I can't even remember where I got in now. I don't know. But anyway, it's just a long. Sentiment, fundamentals, everything is along on this. COT positioning, it's all along. So any pullbacks you get into propulsion, ADR to the downside, RSI extension to the downside, anything like that, just take the next reversal alert long on 5 or 15. So at the moment it's going to be there, not on 15. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. New Zealand dollar CAD, everything on side from a fundamental perspective and a bias perspective. New Zealand dollar Swiss. So all these Swissies, danger at the minute with these is mean reversion and pullback. So New Zealand dollar Swiss, actually, looking at that one, that is one of the ones that actually didn't get hammered, didn't it? As much. So yeah, again, we've got this propulsion here. So accumulation, propulsion move. We haven't tested this yet. So that is ideally where I would like to get to. So we've got a low there and a low there. Both of those will be sitting with liquidity underneath them. Yeah. So any longs from today under today's low, and that would be the low from Thursday. This is the danger area down here. We've got many areas down here where there's potential liquidity sitting as well. Anybody that's taken any long position on New Zealand dollar Swiss at any point since Christmas, basically. So Christmas is here. Anybody that's longed this since Christmas, that's where they're sitting with their liquidity. They may have moved it up, in which case then it's sitting where the buyers started the long move. They started the long breakout here. So that's where I want to be long in it, if we can get there. So that's what I'll be aiming to do with New Zealand dollar Swiss, US dollar CAD, and US dollar Swiss and US dollar yen, all buys. So again, US dollar CAD, RSI extension to the downside. That one played out last week. But you know, choppy mess at the moment. So you can kind of long it or short it. I'd rather be longing it than shorting it, but yeah, who knows at the moment. It's not going anywhere, is it? So you can really take any extension you like. If you take an RSI extension to the upside, you're fine. If you took it to the downside, you're fine. Took it to the downside, you're fine. Downside, you're fine. Doesn't matter. Take whatever you want on it. It's just range bound at the moment, but the overall bias would be long, more long than short. US dollar Swiss, same thing. Swiss franc massively weak at the moment. So yeah, we should be getting a decent push. We've just come back and tested the propulsion gap on this one. It kind of hit it, tested it, and then we had the gap down this morning, but they're off again. So like it as a long, but this is a very, very difficult pair to trade. It's just erratic. This is it's the schizophrenic pair at the moment. If you get caught the wrong side of something like this, you're in big trouble. So you've got to use a stop on it. Don't try and position trade this. It's just too volatile and nasty. So if you're going to position trade it, think maybe I might take a couple of positions and then get out. Yeah. So don't necessarily get in with a stop but get in, maybe scaling once or twice. But it's too dangerous at the minute. Directional wise, massive Swiss franc strength weakness at the moment. We've had US weakness too, so no real advantage either way. At the moment, we've got a strong US, but because we've had such a weakness on the Swissy, we'll probably see the Swissy strengthen temporarily as well. So again, this is probably just going to flip-flop. So looking at areas to buy, like resistance and support. Overall, we're in a downtrend, as you can see. So the 24.72 moving averages on the daily are currently down. So we should be looking for sells because of Swiss franc strength, but that was before the bank lost $68 billion or whatever it was, or Swiss franc, and suddenly weakened the Swiss franc. So again, don't know. This is what I mean at the moment. This is why I'm using the faster RSIs, because things are moving fast and everything is being affected by inflation and interest rates, and there's no real long-term bias you can pick on anything at the minute, because it changes. There's so many economic factors affecting the world at the moment, like Australia is being affected by Japan, and it's down to the Australian dollar is completely in Japan's and in China's control rather, as to whether or not it lets it start supplying it again. So it's a very, very, very difficult situation at the moment. Short term is much easier to trade, but obviously you are just trading chop, so randomness. World King, what indicators you use? What are these EMAs? All on the website. Go to the marketstructuretrader.com. Indicators are all listed there. How to use them all is all listed in the education section. There's a bootcamp which teaches you how to trade with everything. It's all free, the training. But that's these are the 72, the 24 and the 72 moving averages on the daily. So this is the 72, which is the quarterly moving average. This is the 24, which is the monthly moving average. So these are the institutional moving averages, as I call them. So this is what that's a really bad example, but this is what these represent the banks and institutions reporting periods, which are monthly and quarterly. So these are their monthly and quarterly movements. So you can see how it just pulls back into them and creates this sort of sawtooth pattern, which is market structure. And this is just those moving averages represented on the 4-hour chart. So the same moving average is just on the 4-hour, so you can see a little cleaner what you want to be doing. So that's the so US dollar Swiss I was on, wasn't I? And US dollar yen is the other one. Just pulling back now on the opening range breakout. So we tapped straight into that support that I drew on. So we came straight into support and we're off from that level. So let's see if we just get, so obviously with the market structure, I mean, that's the high. I can't really, none of that is, that's a symmetrical triangle in there. So none of that is any use whatsoever, but that's your new low. So the two things in play here are going to be either market structure pullback into propulsion for a new leg down into propulsion, or a double bottom bounce and invalidate that structure. One or the other. But either way, it's just not ideal conditions today with the bank holiday. We're probably seeing a little bit of weakness in the US dollar. Oh no, it's still pushing nicely. So this is probably the euro. Nice. Yeah, there's the go. There's a pullback on the euro at the minute, I think. Not much though, is it? But we want this euro to keep pumping because that will drop the DAX. So yeah, US dollar yen is the only other one that is potentially a long. I'm not going to get long on the US dollar yen. I just can't bring myself to long anything yen at the moment. You know, look at the yen. It's all to do with intervention. Yeah, every single one of these is an intervention by the yen. Yeah, they are just, you know, we are protecting our currency. Yes, our economy's screwed. Yes, we haven't got a way out, but interim, we're just going to keep pumping the yen. So I just don't want to be on the wrong side of the yen when they do one of those pumps. I'd much rather be in a short position and then them pump, and then obviously we win. So I'm looking for pullbacks at the moment. I'm not going to play the pullback to the mean reversion on them. I'd rather short it after they've reverted. Nice rejection. Off of my initial opening range break. So basically that low there. Don't want to see that invalidated. Ideally. Not particularly quick breakout this morning, is it? Right, that's pretty much it from FX perspective. I'm going to get the EA set up. I say I'm going to get the EA set up. I'm still contemplating what to do. The EA is running on the pound New Zealand at the moment. That's got me in obviously short on that one. So I'm in short from here, but I've been in short for a while on it, and it's just not going anywhere, obviously. So I'm going to get the EA set up to get me into these as well. And that's basically what I'm going to run at the moment. But I'm just trying to find an opportunity to get in. At the minute, I just can't really see any extensions that. I mean, I've kind of missed the alerts. That's the thing. I've missed the reversal alerts this morning. I should have done all this on Friday, but I paused on Friday because I wanted to see what the COT report was going to be. And obviously, I was asleep during Asia, so I've kind of missed the start of these moves. So I will, if we get a reversal alert and back up into that propulsion, that's when I'll start to look on Aussie New Zealand, you know, and I'll get the EA set up to get me in short. But ideally I want some RSI extensions. I'm just not sure necessarily we're going to get them at the moment, but we will see. So I've got 0.5% pretty much banked at the moment, and the EA basically I'm just setting up to get me in. I'm not setting TPs on them. I'm setting a 2 ADR stop loss as a max stop out, and obviously the EA will just scale me into the positions, and I'll get out of them manually. But I'm going to try my hardest to take 1/4 to 0.5% off. Every time I get 1/4 to 0.5%, I'm sticking it over here with a view to getting through evaluation in 30 days. But this is only leg one, obviously. So I will hold myself back and stop myself from getting aggressive, which is what I did before. Anybody got any other pairs they want to look at? Anything else they want to discuss? Just quickly look at the oil. Obviously, we know oil we're targeting somewhere around about 100 to 110 a barrel. this year. Hopefully that peak formation low is now validated. And we can have a run on these highs and that high there. So that's why I was kind of looking to see if we got a pullback on this of any description, so I can get in, but not a big enough pullback. Indices, as we know, obviously DAX has got a long way to calm down. It's massively extended. So we've got two really good H4 propulsion gaps to aim for at the moment. We've got this one here where we pushed, which is there. And then we've got this lovely balance where we pushed here. So those are the two main areas. And obviously that coincides with the 24. That one, by the time we get to it, will coincide with the 72. So if this bear market for the DAX is over, and obviously the bear market can be over for the DAX and still be massively in place for the US indices. They're totally different economies, totally different stock markets. That's kind of what I'd be looking for if we are going to continue bullish. So at the moment, obviously, I really think we need a short on this. We need a pullback, don't we? We're just so exhausted, and we haven't had a pullback at all. So, you know, look at this last run and how long that last run lasted. That was a huge run up from October to December. But you know, in there's a couple of pullbacks. That's what I'm expecting and anticipating starting. Nasdaq, obviously, we're looking at this low holding. So at the moment, potentially bullish, but again, we've got that resistance there, which has held up. So we're just range bound at the moment, and right now on the Nasdaq, we are bang in the middle of the range, and we're also sitting in this propulsion gap where the sellers seem to be adding to their positions. So looking at on lower time frame, this is where we are potentially starting a sell from. And again, if this bear market is going to continue, that's where I'll be looking to get in short. The Dow. Dow's making way more headway than all the other indices at the moment. Straight up into that propulsion. Again, you know, these big propulsion gaps, what I was saying earlier, there's a few really good examples on the daily here of large propulsion. Probably be the same. And just as easy to spot. No, not quite. Yeah, but these large propulsion, which we've got at the moment with these yen pairs, all these yen pairs have got huge propulsion gaps. Yeah. They always come back and test them. Yeah. Huge propulsion gap. Retest. Huge propulsion gap. Retest. Retest. Yeah. So, you know, I think there's definitely a downside in this, but at the moment, these things are just flying, aren't they? But I just don't hold out much hope for a bull run to start. I still think we're massively in a bear market at the moment, and until we get out of these recessions, which are really only just starting to kick in, we're not going to get out. So I think shorts long term at the moment. Still, I'm really waiting. I'm hoping that we get. I would love to see this break a new high and confirm a bullish market structure, because I think that will really rally the market, and then we'll just get back into normality. This is all I want. Get back into normality. It's so much easier to make money that way. It's so hard to make money in a very volatile market. It's just mess. You can't trade it long term. Intraday, you just get chopped to pieces. So it's very, 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 very difficult. But obviously, with volatility, opening range breakout strategies work very, very well. On days you haven't got a bank holiday. I'm not holding up much hope for today. So I anticipate a small loss today, but we'll see. We might get a break. We are retesting again now. So it's micro double top there on the last 15 minutes. So good looking short opportunity. So if you've got the price action toolkit, sell stop under the low, under the last, or under the low, either or, one of those two. And if that is going to hold, and we're going to come back and retest 2 shorts. Nobody got anything else I want to look at? No? Okay. That's fine. So intraday, sentiment-wise, nothing much has changed since last week either. We got a -5 now. Pound New Zealand short. That basically, remember I said the cot positioning's changed on the pound. Yep, so we're now 65. So we've tipped ourselves over into, we want to be looking more short than long on the pound. So now Pound New Zealand intraday is a good short. So those are your intraday best sellers, if you like. New Zealand dollar CAD looking for longs, Pound New Zealand looking for shorts. So you're scalping M5, Pound New Zealand. You need to be up in the highs looking for shorts, but it's not giving any opportunities. Or take a breakout. Obviously, you can take a breakout shorts intraday as well. Euro pound. Missed it already. So that was a long. There was your entry this morning. But if you want to take any pullbacks, so just look for propulsion, support rectangle, support resistance areas down here for a pullback long. Any RSI extensions to the downside if you get them, which you're not going to because it's extended to the upside. Euro CAD and Euro Swiss, both longs, strong longs. Euro CAD. Euro CAD's not looking bad for a long. Euro Swiss, you've just had the reversal and the retest. Literally just had the retest there. That looks good for a long. Intraday long, extended. They just took out the liquidity at the lows there, but Euro Swiss looks good. Euro CAD, if they take this level, potentially that's a good looking long as well. And New Zealand dollar CAD, which has been a long forever. You could have longed this 1,000 times and made money out of this on M5. It's just the long of the century, this thing at the minute. Long, 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 long. Just long it. Just keep longing it. Obviously, the thing with the New Zealand is you get these horrible, untradable gap down, low liquidity, super high spreads. Can't get in on these. A lot of these you won't be able to get in on, but the normal ones you will be able to. And again, intraday position trading, intraday take a long on the reversal alerts and then scale in intraday and wait for all the moves to go. That's basically what I did on the euro yen. Yeah, so this was an intraday scaling. So I scaled in on that one there, pushed back down intraday, got in again, waited for the push up to get out. So bias. This is what this is all about, the bias. Yeah. You're not going to get it timed right. Timing is impossible intraday because you're trading algorithmic chop. But if you've got the bias there with the large market participants and the retail are offside against you, i.e. they're all going the wrong way, the market participants are going to go the other way. So you're not going to be able to time them, but scale in using position trading. DAX is just pulling back. So there's your symmetrical triangle break. There's your propulsion gap. So that is last kind of stand really for the sellers at the moment. If that doesn't hold, I don't hold up much hope for the break to work today. Can you remember who was the YouTube guy who based his strategy on Al Brooks? No. Had a 7 in it. That's all I can remember. Master, is he? Was he called Master? MAS7ER, I think was his name. I don't know who. Just be very careful because it's just all it is ICT. That's it, Master. Yeah. All it is ICT. So if it's absolutely useless to you if you're not going to trade ICT concepts, which are hopelessly overcomplex. But yeah, I don't know. I'm building an EA at the moment to test, just to test it, but I've tested it before. I know it works. It's just you know, it's all these. You know, I have nothing against South Africans or all of the the foreigners who grab these concepts and put these YouTube channels up and stuff. But they are just all regurgitating exactly the same thing. And there is no statistical advantage in it intraday. Yeah, if you're trading the 5-minute chart, you have a 50% chance of a trade working. The statistics mean very little for people trading intraday because it doesn't matter how good your strategy is, you will overtrade and you will fail. Most people. Yeah. You know, the EA that I built to test it is it gives a statistical edge. I've got a set file that works with it. Hang on, let me find it. I'll show you the set file that works. I'm going to test it on the DAX, and no, I want to remove these ones. Yes. Let me just test it. I'll show you. So it's got 4K drawdown. Ba, 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 ba. Where's it gone? I'm on the wrong platform. Duh. Christ. I'll do count 10. Biddy. Min range 100. ORB 1 only. Trader percent is 20 on bar. 20. Everything else the same, I think. This produces a 5.08 return on drawdown. So it draws down around about 4K on the account and makes 22K. This is just based on a $500 risk, I think it was. Hello? You're waiting for an update on. What? No history? Oh, hang on a minute. Two oh four. 01. That's not what I tested. I'm sure it's not what I tested. The hell? Maybe I tested it on another platform. Hang on. I've got so many MT4s. Oh, God. Where's my tick data gone? Oh, brilliant. Anybody updated their MT4s? It destroys tick data. Tick data's vanished. Marvelous. Why MQL5 do you have to break everything you touch? This is why I don't use MT5, people. Yeah. Every time they update MT5, it breaks something. Now they've done the same to MT4. This is a new update on MT4. 11th of January, 2023. Now it's broken. I've got no tick data. Right. Well, I can't show you that test. Because I've got no data. So let's go up to today, and I'll do something like, I don't know, 10. Let's try that. Got data for that. See if that works. This isn't going to be accurate now because I'm using crap data because the tick data's vanished. But unbelievable. 3 of yours are missing. MT4's missing data. Yeah. Why is this not working? What's going on? Oh my God. Why is tick data suite not working now? DAX is just coming back out. So looks like we might have some sellers. So we're just inside bar, bear bar. We need to break that low. If we can get that low broken, got a chance of market structure being that. So this is basically, this test is running the Asian session. There's lots of different ranges you can test, obviously. There's the Asian session, obviously, the Frankfurt session and the New York session. But all this thing is doing, literally, is it's taking a 10%, I think it was 10%, wasn't it? Yeah, so 10%. So basically what it does is it takes the 1.5 hour range, and then it takes a 10% variant. So literally all this strategy is doing is taking the opening range of the first 1.5 hours and playing double bottom bounces and double top bounces. That's its job, right? So what it does is it gets in at the low, it puts a pending order, rather it puts a pending order just before the low in case what you do is you come up and not quite do a double top and bounce. And then it puts a stop of 50% of the opening range. So in this case, the opening range, as you can see here, is 632 pips. So what it does is it puts a stop at 315 pips. And then it gets out on a trailer. That's literally all it does. And it does it very nicely. So didn't get that one triggered there, unfortunately, but that's the idea. So if we come back down there, we've got basically a variance of them either double bottoming, doing a uneven W, yeah, or doing a W stop hunt, yeah, at this low. So that pattern there is going to be that. I get in long, or it's going to do that. I get in long, or it's going to do that. I get in long, yeah, with a stop down here, and then I just trail it. So theory being, after 1.5 hours, either the low or the high of this session is in. So one of them is going to be, with 80% accuracy, roughly, one of these is going to be right, either the high or the low. So all we're doing is when we're within this range, we're not sure which way we're going to break, which one's going to become the high or the low. So we try and get in. So it's the opposite, if you like, to the opening range breakout EA. The opening range breakout EA is using a range and taking the breakout. This is using the range and taking the double top. So it's just a mean reversion version of the opening range breakout. It's exactly the same thing in reverse. Yeah. Beautiful one there, look. But see what I mean? My opening range breakout EA would have creamed that. This one didn't. This one tried to mean revert it. Again, what's the odds of mean reversion working and what's the odds of the opening range breakout working? Exactly the same thing. It's either going to do it or it's not. But anyway, that's what it does. So you can see here, we took, there's our opening range, Asian opening range. We took a buy, got out, we took a buy, stopped out, took a buy, got out, we took a sell, profit, took a sell, profit, we took a buy, stopped out, took a buy, profit, took a buy, profit. And it just keep doing that and playing this range. Buy, small profit, buy, small loss, buy, major loss. We're in a long now. And it stops trading at the end of the range. And then obviously the idea is it goes to the next session, which is the Frankfurt session. Then it trades the Frankfurt session in the same way. Then it goes into New York and it trades the New York in the same way. But this is just one, obviously, potential. So it didn't trigger there. Didn't get a chance. There you go. So there's one there. The prime example there. Look. So there's your opening range. This is the 1.5 hour range. Yeah. So we came down, we tested it, we came down, we tested it, swept it, took that trade long. But then at that one, that failed. That one took, that failed. Why? Because 80% probability of one of the highs or lows being the high or the low of the session, it was the low of the session. So every time you try and mean revert the high of the session, obviously you're going to fail. And this is the downfall of the strategy, whereas the opening range breakout strategy works perfectly in these situations, but it fails in these situations. So what this strategy does is if you get a choppy open, it milks it. If you get an opening range break, it fails. Yeah. It's just this, it's you know, it's all recycled stuff. It's all the same stuff. But what that guy, that master guy's doing is he's using ICT concepts within this range. Or if you break out of this range, he's using ICT concepts to trade, which basically, if you like, is, you know, at the end of the day, we know it's all basically a recycled and rehashed version of wide range bars, isn't it? So not that I know it in detail because I don't do it, but so yeah, it's good. It's a good concept, but again, it's another strategy. You know, it's going to have advantages and disadvantages. I managed to make an EA which made a decent amount of money out of it, but then my opening range breakout makes a decent amount of money, but none of it is going to make you a millionaire. It's all going to be profitable. This generated 22 grand in 3 months. The ORB EA will do the same thing. It's just you have no idea and no control over whether you are going to get that at the open or that at the open. So ORB milks it. That strategy milks it in that condition. Yeah, you run them both, you earn 44k. You know, it's just you need to pick one. And this is the whole argument, isn't it? Everyone, you know, I get this in the Telegram in here all the time, don't I? In the YouTube channel, people come on and say, "Oh, it's a short, it's a short, it's a short." It depends on your view as to whether it's a short or a long. It's a 50-50 shot, is what it is. Yeah. So I can be long on an ORB and be right because I'll grab the ORB, get out, and you can be shorting it on a 4-hour time frame and be right as well. Everyone can be right. The 50-50 shot is when you enter the market, it is going to do that. Whether you get out there or you get out there makes you a winning trader or a losing trader. The odds will always usually go in your favor at some point. It's the people that don't take the profit off the table that lose. Try restarting Tick Data Suite service from TDS Support Manager. I have no idea what that is, Evil. What's TDS Support Manager? Oh, Tick Data Suite. Right. Tick Data Manager. Oh, Tick Data Suite Support Assistant or Tick Data Manager. I'll try that. I haven't got a license for it now because when I bought this, I bought it. I own this. Now it's licensed monthly. So there you go. It's finished. So I mean, this is obviously crap data. It's only 68.1% accuracy, but $5 grand drawdown, $5 grand profit. And that was over what, a couple of months. So back up in the propulsion. Here. To do what? Support assistant. I've never had to do anything. Your support plan has expired. See? That's because when I bought it, they didn't do monthly. Now they do monthly. So I never had to touch this. This has been sitting on my computer for about 2.5 years. Never touched it. Worked fine all the time. MT4 updates, everything up. I can't stand it when they do this. So annoying. I'm just moving this out of the way because I've got my license on the screen. So I'm going to have to buy it again, aren't I? Maintenance. Stop. Oh, I see. So is that what you mean? Stop TDS service? If the service is stopped, Tick Data Suite will not be available in any newly started MT4 terminals. Ooh. Do I want to be doing this? Let me just let me just close down my MT4s and then start. And I'll just start terminal again. Haven't done any of this ever. No, haven't got it. It's gone. Oh, what a pain in the backside. There's my day gone. Currently using the release channel for updates. I'm just going to buy it again. I can't be bothered. I'm just going to buy it again. I'm not paying $459. I paid like $100 when I bought it. This is why my data, if you look at my data, it only goes up to April 2022, because that's when my year was up. I downloaded 15 years worth of, or 10 years worth of data or something in Tick Data Suite. I don't need to test it on this last year's data. I need to test it over a long period of time. So it doesn't matter when you test it over. We're looking to develop a strategy, aren't you? And if that strategy worked over 12 years in the past, should work now. If it doesn't, then it's knackered, isn't it? But that's why I never bothered to update my data. But I think now I'm going to have to just update my data, aren't I? I'm going to have to buy it again. But I just don't want to pay $450 for something I've already paid $100 for. So yeah, I'll have to enroll. No, EA review. I'll just do it this way. Yeah, so it's 27 quid. So $159 for a year. I'll just do that. It's 270. It's like £300 a year if you do it monthly, isn't it? It's 150 if you buy it. So I use it, literally, I use it on a daily basis, and I've been using it on a daily basis for years. So I can't not have it. I can't operate without it. I can't use broker data. It's just useless. So I have to do that. I'll do that today at some point. Oh, what a pain. What is this update? I haven't actually looked at what the update is. I'll have to see where I have to go and read about build 1370. See what they've changed. Anybody know what they've changed? Apart from breaking tick data suite for anybody that had it in the past. It's probably a conspiracy between tick data suite and MQL5. They've probably paid them to do an update which breaks it so everybody has to go back and buy it again. They're going to get an influx of sales now, aren't they, tick data suite? But yeah, never mind. But yeah, anyway, that strategy, if you want to go and have a look at it, but it's Al Brooks's 1.5 hour range strategy. But as I say, it doesn't give you a massive advantage. If you look at, I mean, the main range you want to be doing with this is the second range, or the second and third ranges. So forget the Asian range. Whoops. It's ranges 2 and 3 are the important ones, which are the Frankfurt range and the New York range. Those are the big ones. But you see, look, the opening, if you use the opening range breakout EA with a 1.5 hour, because all this is, this DRIDR thing that I put together is literally the opening range breakout EA. And all I've done is I've changed the ranges, put an extra little line in there at a percentage of the opening range. And then what I've done is instead of using pending orders to break out, I've used pending orders to go short. All I've done is I've flipped the opening range breakout on its head. But look how beautiful my opening range breakout EA would have worked there. So, you know, there it made 2 sells which worked and 1 sell which didn't. But again, it's a chop day. Nothing's ever going to work on a day like this. It doesn't matter whether you use ICT, whether you use any strategy in that chop, you are not going to make money unless you are in and out on super, super tight stops. ORB. See, look, I'm looking at this. My ORB EA just made a load of money there. This thing lost because the lower the days in. And this is why I say this doesn't give you a massive advantage. What it's saying, I mean, it's like, to me personally, that strategy is like stating the bleeding obvious, isn't it? Right? At 1.5 hours, either the high or the lower the days in. Well, I know that. Of course it is. It's a massive range. The higher the lower the session is in. Really? What, after moving 155 points, you reckon the DAX's opening range, the high or the lower the session's in? Yeah, I think you're probably right. Thank you for that. No wonder it's got an 80% probability. It's highly unlikely the DAX is going to do that, isn't it? 150 pip. It needs to do a 300 point move in both directions. For that, it's almost like an ADR, a double-sided ADR. It's not going to do that very often, is it? So yeah, let's state the obvious. So how does it help me knowing that either that or that is going to be the higher the day or the lower the day? It doesn't help me. Personally, this is why I didn't bother using it. You know, I've known about it for a long time, but yeah, 80% probability that the high or the lower the day's in. In this case, it was the low of the session. Yeah, correct. But how does it help me there? What I would much rather do is assume that because we're in the upper half I'd be looking for breakout longs and assume that that's the low of the day. So I'd be looking for long opportunities, not for shorting up there. But I know that is only part of it before everybody slams me. I know what he is saying in that video, in his videos, is yes, what you should be doing is X, Y, Z. And this is, again, a strategy that I will test. I will test only taking longs above 50% with stops below 50%, things like that. Yeah, so if we close below 50% of the range, break above 50%, go long, stop under the low. That would have worked beautifully, wouldn't it? Yeah, we're up at the highs when the opening range goes in. So, you know, I want to be long. Market's long, isn't it? Opening range breakouts is what you want to be taking there. ORBEA does that already. That's its job. Besides that, 136 point opening range. Higher the lower the session's in. Really? Correct. The chances of it getting all the way back up there in one session, it's not a lot, is it? But yeah, look, made a nice profit there. Came back down, retested, made a nice profit there. What have you got? W. Did it hold? No, doesn't matter. So you lost there. If it had got up to there, that would have been a beautiful sell. But then again, everybody's selling that. Of course they are. It's a double top. It's just what you want to do. I think the way I think I'm gonna, and I will test this as well. Again, it's on my long list of stuff to test. But for me, when the opening range goes in, which is at that point there, when it starts those pending orders placed, if we are below 50%, I do not want to try that. What I want to do is just do those if it gets there. Because why? By the time it's got there, if it manages to get there, it's going to be absolutely exhausted. Imagine RSI. RSI is up here somewhere, isn't it? Yeah, that's a lovely M pattern reversal. So, but it's no different using in a range or not using a range. If it gets up there, you want to short it anyway, don't you? Opening range breakout. Opening range breakout. Nothing that day at all. Didn't even trigger an order on that session because it's such a big, wide range. Opening range breakout. Opening range breakout. Opening range breakout. Opening range, not great. Not great. Again, choppy day that was, wasn't it? And that one. Opening range breakout there. Opening range breakout there. Those are the ones that make you the money, you see, though. This is the whole point. I don't use this as an opening range breakout, obviously. I use 5, 10, 15. I'm breaking out of this, but it's very similar, isn't it? If you look on a choppy day, 1.5 hour isn't going to be much different to the 15-minute. So we've got that one, and that one is your 15-minute range. So your 15-minute there is the same as the 1.5 hour. The opening range breakout would have got you in here. The ORBEA would have got you in there, which is not a lot different, is it? But this is the thing. The theory is not the opening range breakout. Al Brooks's theory was not you take a breakout. Al Brooks's theory is, all the theory is you know you have either the low of the day or the high of the day established within an hour and a half to an 80% accuracy. And that is true. The low of the day was established within an hour and a half. You can't take that because that isn't an hour and a half in. The hour and a half starts here. So by the time you've got the hour and a half in, if you think that's the low of the day, you've missed the move. But if we're up at the top at the hour and a half, I'll be inclined to just look for long opportunities. So there's ways to do it. There's lots of ways to trade it. But again, it's a strategy like any other. It's going to have high failure rate. It's mean reversion. So, sorry, if you're trading mean reversion, your strike rate needs to be somewhere in the 50 to 70% range. If it's an ORB strategy like that, then 30% is absolutely fine. That's all you need for a trend or a breakout strategy, 30% strike rate. That's all you're ever going to get because it mean reverts 80% of the time. We know that. So, but I just can't. I don't. For me, it doesn't do anything more than the opening range breakout EA does. The opening range breakout EA is the inverse of what that is doing. And I just think the ORBs are nicer because the ORBs will give you 5 to 1, 10 to 1, 15 to 1 winners regularly if you can hold them, depending on what your stops are, obviously. But the opening range breakouts, you make big wins. And that's what I like. That's why I like it. This sort of stuff, mean reversion, you might as well just trade. Come back and use the price action toolkit and trade price action after the hour and a half. But I don't know. There's things to develop in it. I think it's got legs for the future for development, but I don't know. Right, so let's have a look at where we are. I don't think anything's moving particularly. The only thing I'm on at the moment is pound New Zealand. That is short. And the ORB is working, but not very convincingly at the moment. So high, low, lower high, looking for a lower low below 15.081. Target being somewhere around 15.038 or propulsion. One of those propulsion gaps, basically. I think that's probably all you're going to get this session if you get it. I mean, it might not even do it. So, okay, that's all I've got for you this morning. I'll be back tomorrow morning. There's no session this afternoon. New York's shut, so I'm not going to bother trading this afternoon. I will be getting the EA set up at some point today. Get ready for some entries, basically, in line with the current bias, which is what I'm planning on. But I will be obviously keeping an eye on everything from an RSI extension point of view for these range-bound ones as well. If we get some decent ranges on these range-bound pairs, I'll be probably getting the EA to get me into some of those as well at some point. But, ladder, this month chop on the indices is quite annoying. Yeah, it is just. This is the most frustrating January I can on record I think I've ever traded through. This has just been an open from hell. It's confusing at the moment. It's just all confusing at the moment. But just got to get back on the horse. It's always difficult to get back into it in January, but when the markets are so erratic, it just makes it more difficult. Just makes it everything much more difficult to trade. But nothing you can do about it. But it's been lovely longs there on the Nasdaq. But it's choppy. It's just choppy. The opens are choppy at the moment. That's the trouble. That's news, and the news is just bloody useless at the moment, isn't it? There's no directional bias on anything. But that's kind of why I'm sticking with the EA. I want automation to just do as much as it can for me at the moment, and the opening range breakout I know is a long-term edge, so that's kind of what I want to play at the moment. But it will get chopped up. You're going to have to sit through periods of it not doing very well. So you can't adjust it. That's the trouble. You can't adjust the EAs to market conditions because the market conditions change all the time. So you can get it to be more conservative, but then you make less money. The whole purpose of me in January was to try and get prop past, and you can't do that when it's choppy like this. It's too hard. Unless you're scalping candlesticks, obviously, this is how I've passed most of my evaluations is, 1% short. And as soon as it starts to go my way, add, and catching that. Done. Phase 2. That's how I passed those E8s, wasn't it? Yeah. Remember those E8s before last year in the summer, I passed the autumn or whenever it was. I passed E8 in one day. I passed phase 1 in the morning in the Frankfurt session, and then they gave me phase 2, and I passed phase 2 in the New York session. Done, funded by the end of the day. And all I did was just went 1% on what looked like a good price action pattern like that. Short, hit the button again, hit the button again, catch a lucky couple of propulsion candles down for 20 minutes, half an hour, pass. It's all you need to get through the evaluation. But equally, I've had many where I've hit the sell button, stop out for 1%, go long, stop out for 1%, leave it, go back to the next session. Same thing happens, minus 4% on the account in 2 sessions. Not up to me, is it? It's up to these guys. They move it. I don't. You just got to get in at the right time, and you just don't know the right time. So it is literally, evaluation is passing on aggression most of the time, and then scanning it all back as soon as you've got the account, and then trade like a normal human being. It's just very frustrating when you get session after session where that happens and you can't actually get a break. But that's life. Right, I'll be back tomorrow, 7:50. I'll be in the Telegram group if you need me. And I will be getting Tick Data Suite together today. I bet I've got to download data again. This is obviously a completely new version from the one that I was on. So it's going to be annoying. But so yeah, anything you need, come in the Telegram group. I'll post in the trades channel anything that I'm taking. And when I get a second, I'm going to get the EA set up. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do yet, whether I'm going to go with H1 or H4 RSI extensions, or whether I'm just going to chuck it on M15 and just say, just go short next time you get one, which is kind of what I want to do. Really, but I just need to make sure it's in the right spot, because I'm happy to scale into these. I just don't want to get in too early, if you know what I mean. So, but I'll post in the group when I've done that and what I've got set up. And then obviously, if you want to do the same, you can get the reverse alerts EA and do the same. All right, so that's it. I will be back tomorrow morning. Have a good day. Don't get chopped up too much in New York. Just remember, when you're trading in New York, if you're trading in New York's shut. The markets are open for CFDs, but you're not going to get much movement. So be very careful. It could be very frustrating. I'd just take the afternoon off. All right, have a good one, guys. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time, and I will see you then. Have a good one.